up? Greetings, one and all. Welcome again to the GBD Great Black Detox Clinic, the weekly clinic, the opportunity where you guys get to ask questions to the man in my Dr. Amsu, Mr. Breaks, and the rest of the GBD team. This is where we discuss health, we discuss our future, we discuss, really the health of our community, but more importantly, the health of us individually, right? Because we can't make any impact on anything in our community without fixing our own health first, right? Listen, again, this is your opportunity for you guys to ask questions. So please have your questions ready. If you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand in the Zoom app. Right at the bottom, there's a participation button. Click on that bad boy. Raise your hand to let us know you have a question. Similarly, you can let us know in the chat. And we will be simulcasting on YouTube at some point. I think that's going to be going up. Sending a big shout out to those on Dr. Amsu's live. Really, they're my fans. I don't know why they keep joining his live, but hey, my fans are on Dr. Amsu's live.
Hey, Jess just joined. You can't see it from there.
No, doing up my jacket.
You can't see it from here, Jess. So for the both of us.
Why are you hating on a brother, bro?
What? I'm not hating. I gave love for you, you know?
Shade. Listen, shout out to everyone on the call. Big shout out to my boy Todd.
What's up, Todd?
He's the main guy. Listen, guys, please unmute your cameras. You want to join us in the call. What's up, Ruth? What's up, Shouty?
Hey, Crystal.
Crystal's on.
Deshaun.
Greetings, Deshaun.
Deshaun, did your anti-terrorist thing get resolved?
On Facebook.
On Facebook.
Right. For some strange reason.
Domestic terrorist.
She's a domestic terrorist. For some reason, she's reposted our Facebook post and it got shut down. Her whole Facebook got shut down. There was a SWAT team outside of her house because she had a picture of Dr. Amsu on her Facebook with his shirt off or something, wasn't it? Something
was guns.
Triggered the red alert. It was the guns, wasn't it?
The guns.
Something triggered the red alert.
1 and 2.
Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, there's been a lot going on in the last few weeks. Generally, we like to wrap everything around health because everything comes back to that. Mental health, physical health, the health of our community in general, financial health. We're going to be talking about that at some point as well. But Dr. Amsi, what's on your radar, my son?
Who's on my radar?
Who's on your radar?
Who is on? World Health Organization. World Health Organization are trying to come up with, they came up with a proposal that they would govern laws internationally, like 194 countries. They would govern or be the overseers of how to handle any future pandemics. So, not a good look at all. As you know, we do not like centralized anything, right? We don't like centralized anything because when there's corruption, it's absolute corruption, right? When it's centralized. So World Health Organization want to be that central governance for any future pandemics where they will, all the countries internationally across the globe, they will be that voice or that power on how to handle it, meaning lockdowns, mandates, vaccinations and all that. It won't be left up to national governments, let alone like we live here in the United States and there are federal laws, but there's also state laws. So what goes on in California, we don't have to worry about that because we're a red state. And we say that proudly.
Keep it up, mate.
We say that proudly. But with something like this, not only will it override Georgia law, it will also override federal law if it's brought into being. So obviously a lot of right-wing politicians are not too happy, but the whole, World Economic Forum recruits that are out there, right, running countries, they're all for it.
So
and here's the bad thing about it.
Okay.
World Health Organization, they are non-elected officials, so they weren't put in place, they weren't voted in.
Right.
So it could be anybody. And here's the thing. World Health Organization have 3 top funders, right? Number 1 is the United States. So maybe the United States might have a little, the federal government might have a little power. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is Bill Gates.
Bill who?
Bill Gates is the second highest funder of the World Health Organization. So you see how he's all hands up in vaccines and all that and what we're trying to do. He always says we. like he's some scientist or something, like he's a doctor, right? And then the UK. So Bill Gates funds more money to the World Health Organization than the United Kingdom in all its glory. So again, he's not an elected official, but he will be calling the shots. And we cannot have that. So,
and I think and this comes up every week. Every time we talk about situations like this, where, if you to put that on paper, having a centralized body to manage, global vaccines or global pandemics,
mandates
makes a lot of sense on paper, right?
Policies.
But the problem is the corruption. The problem is who are they beholden to, right? The problem is who's backing it, who's creating the legislations, which companies are benefiting from it, who is not benefiting from it. And so it's not, and this is what happens, and this is what's really painful is that, in principle, on paper, great idea, but in practice, and this is where we need to be.
No, I don't even agree on a great idea in principle because it's centralized. No, we have to decentralize things of that nature because what's good for, let's say, I was going to say Afghanistan, but that's not a good example. But what's good for Afghanistan may not be good for us here in Georgia.
That's right.
May not be good for Cuba.
Well,
but when you have one body that is one size fits all, here's the mandate.
That's two different things, though. So
plus,
they're centralized, right? And so if we're saying one action for all, that's a problem. When I think of centralized, being a good idea, not so much centralized government because we know it because of all the corruption.
No, centralized banking, centralized anything.
Well, hold on. I'm not suggesting that should be one shoe fits all sizes. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying that we talked about this on the call. Something that people aren't going to like with health is that because it's so it's so hidden behind the veil. A lot of information that could be useful for health bodies doesn't get shared, right? So it's that kind of thing. That if the decentralized bodies do communicate and they help each other, right, then I'm all for that. So I'm not calling for centralization because again, we're worried about the corruption. However, we don't want a situation also whereby one body has all the answers, has all the solutions, and they're not sharing it or not giving to other bodies because of politics. You see what I mean? So it's like, it's a double-edged sword.
There's a difference. All right. So, for instance, the vaccine developments, for instance, right, was funded by public money. So when you hear United States is funding World Health Organization, it ain't a group of politicians that's dipping into their back pockets and say, all right, let's have a whip round, lads, and, come up with the money. It's public money through taxes. So it's taxpayer money, right? When the UK is the third highest, that's taxpayer money, right? So they're taking money from the people and then putting it into the hands of privatized
Absolutely.
individuals, right? So there's the big problem there, and even with the United States with the mandates of schools having to lock down and stuff like that, right? It's appalling because one size does not fit all, especially when it comes to health. With the vaccine, for instance, children don't really need vaccine unless they were obese, right? Children didn't need any kind of vaccine, and even with them being obese, I still wouldn't want to give them vaccines anyway, right? But people who are, 78% of people hospitalized or who died from COVID-19, right? They were obese. So people who have health comorbidities and all that, I can understand them opting being the operative word here, opting in, right? But when you're talking about mandatory without consent,
that's different.
Informed consent. That you know what? Well, you know what? Do I want to take this vaccine? No, I don't want to. And most black people who took the vaccine, and I'm going out on a limb here, right? Because I am black. The last time I checked, right? Most black people who took the vaccine was because they were under duress of their jobs,
through work or jobs,
right?
Especially the school system, working in the hospital, so on and so forth.
There you go. So they were forced into it, and it's not a good look. No. But when you have something that just another for instance, that's my favorite word today or favorite phrase. For instance, medications, right? Most pharmaceutical medications are not tested on black people, right? They're tested on the white anatomy, right? White biology. And so that's 98%. 98%. So the adverse effects are not known on black people till when it happens. After things have been, approved and go out into the public. So again, and even now they're finding out that they're not sure, and certain scientists are sure, but it's not the official opinion, that too many vaccines and boosters weakens your immune system. It actually compromises the first line of defense, which is the innate immune system, your T cells, your B cells, right? That line of defense is compromised, where your body relies upon the antibodies, and then when the antibodies are compromised, you're open season. Now you got AIDS.
Right, absolutely. Dr. Amsu and everyone else, listen again, guys, if you've got questions on the IG, you may have asked a question, I just logged in, so please repeat the question if you ask a question in the IG. Those of you on the Zoom, let us know in the chat, raise your hand and we'll come to you. So there's another zoonotic virus that's popped up, monkeypox. I don't know if you've been following this. So I think in the last week or so, we've had cases in the UK. They've just had their first 1 or 2 cases in the US. And I think they've had some cases in the continent. So, as soon as I heard this, I thought, here we go again. Here we go again.
You're going to blame Africa, innit?
Of course it's Africa. They made some link that, one of the people. So in fact, the first case they found was in Europe. Of course, they had to go and trace it and say, well, they had some contact with either some African person or, someone had been to Africa. But regardless, they're always going to point there. The thing is now we have yet another pandemic, deadly pandemic. This one's uglier because you get the lesions on, it's like leprosy, This is going to be it. Mark my words. You're not hearing much about it now, but I'll give it 10 days. The next thing you're going to be hearing about on the news is going to be monkeypox and how we're all in danger of catching monkeypox. And this can be, so they didn't even wait a whole year, COVID's gone, 90 days later, monkeypox. So I don't know if you've been following that at all.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's very few cases. Very, very, very few cases.
It's what they said about COVID. Just a few cases in China. Nothing to worry about. And then it ballooned.
No,
but anyway,
wait. With COVID, they said everything to worry about. They started making predictions. They started doing a movie on the spread with the the red that spreads out. They did all of that.
That was some time later. So initially, your president was saying, look, there's nothing to worry about here, folks. Everton's playing at the bottom of the garden. He's closed his curtains. The point I'm making is that however we try and trace it and do a post-mortem, there is yet another thing that we need to be wary of. Now, I'm not suggesting at all that people not be vigilant and go out and start, kissing strangers. Not at all. But it's just...
Does monkeypox kill? I haven't studied. I haven't looked into it that deep. Is it a form of is it another form of chicken pox, but with
DNA,
but with a tail?
It's a DNA, right? Zoonotic virus. So it's going to be... we'll research that and get back to you. We're going to become monkeypox experts by the end of the week. But guys, I want to hear from you guys. We want to hear questions. I've just gone back into the IG.
We want to hear some opinions.
Opinions, in fact, maybe.
Questions or opinions, comments.
And if there's anyone on the call that's thinking about doing a detox, considering a detox, they've got some health concerns, they've been too shy to ask, this is the platform. We've got a hand raised over here. It's my friend, Mortlin Parlett.
Hey there, Mikey. How you doing?
We were going to limit how many Jamaicans come on the call, but there you go. First Jamaican in, so I don't know what we're going to do.
Listen. I'm from the UK too.
Song and dance. How you doing,
I just wanted to make a comment.
Indeed.
The monkeypox or whatever you just mentioned, I heard about it as well. And as far as I'm concerned, this is going to blow up because they want to get the people they didn't get with COVID. They're going to force you to have a vaccine that you don't really want. And it's just their way of let's catch the rest that we did not get.
Wow.
Now, I didn't get vaccinated and I went home to the UK earlier in the year and I went through hell with the amount of testing that I had to do to go to the UK and then come back. And since coming back, I know that the UK now dropped all testing, so you don't have to test anymore and everything. But for me, the biggest thing with this COVID was that they didn't tell the people that this was an experimental vaccine that they were giving everyone. Had they said that and just be upfront, transparent and honest with everyone, I think more people would have been, just more receptive to it because they lied. They didn't tell you it was experimental. It is experimental. And there's been a lot of adverse reaction to the vaccine that they're not talking about, and that they push under the carpet, and they don't want people to know about it. Well, I know monkeypox is coming up, and I'm going to do my best to fight and not take any other vaccine that they put out there. As long as I can hold out, that's what I intend to do. That's just my opinion.
Right.
And good on you. And it's your freedom of choice. It's your right to do that. You know, I was personally very opposed to mandates. I think for a mandate to come into play, the evidence has to be so overwhelming, not just anecdotal, not just fear tactics, you know. And I'm not suggesting that there wasn't a virus out there. I think there was a virus out there. But the severity of it, to me, was greatly overplayed, right? And whenever you say that, people start, well, where's your stats? Where are you getting the stats from? Look, none of us are epidemiologists, right? But listen, we look at this thing, we know this, you know, just as a sentient thinking adult can look at the data that they presented and know that there was something really amiss here. So honestly, I'm actually concerned about this monkeypox thing, because I think it's going to be it's going to be COVID 2, 3. No, we had 3 COVIDs in one, didn't we? So what's this going to be now? They're going to come up with some number for it. But Dr. Amsey, you were about to say?
No, I was going to speak about a lot of people rolled over. You know, before there were mandates, there were a lot of people saying, well, before they mandate it,
let me go and
I might as well get it now to, you know, because they're going to mandate it. And, you know, it's things like that really, you know, pees me off, because you have so many people who are trying their best to, like, no, I'm not going to take it. I don't trust it. It's an experiment. And the experiment is ongoing. Even though there has been approval, right? It's still an experiment because they're still gathering data, right? So they don't know. And that's the nature of science. Science isn't, you know what, this is it, especially with a novel virus. It's all theory. So when, you know, they talk about, oh, that's a conspiracy theorist. The scientists are theorists. They have to go off of theory, right? They have a hunch that, you know what, the way how this is behaving, it seems like such and such. But then they backtrack. How many backtracks have there been, right? There's been recalls, right? Certain countries have stopped the Johnson & Johnson. Certain countries have stopped AstraZeneca, right? There's issues with Pfizer. There's in Baltimore, there's that facility that was producing the vaccine that all the third-party inspectors were saying, wait, this facility is not up to par. And they were ignored. And then 400 million batches of the virus got released to the public. 400 million. And I bet you they got sent somewhere black. I don't even know where, but there's black people there, you know? And these are the things that are not, when those concerns were raised, it didn't make the news. Not at all. It did not make the news at all. There was no smoking gun or anything. And people who were trying to reveal this information were marked down as disinformation, misinformation, terrorists, they might as well call them,
conspiracy
right?
parrots.
Because that's what in this country now, there's a disinformation governance board that has been put together that's going to try to dictate and tell us what the truth is. So, you know, we might be having a debate. Might be debating over who's the best team, right? Or who's got the prettiest girlfriend or whatever. Somebody steps in and says, well, we've already decided.
Right.
And that's disinformation for you to be saying your girl's get it better than this. And here's the thing, right? Religions. What happens with religions when it comes to the disinformation governance board? Are they going to decide to people that, you know what, wait, Jehovah's Witness, you're knocking on people's door, spreading misinformation or disinformation. There is no God, or you got the wrong God. That ain't God's name. You know, what are Muslims going to go through? They're going to say there ain't no Allah, there's Jehovah, that's it, Yahweh. The Jews are right. You see what I'm saying? It's like, who's going to decide what truth is?
Bill Gates. I trust him because he wrote Microsoft. He wrote Basic. He stole Basic, didn't he? I think he stole Basic and came out with Windows.
He stole it.
So
he's corrupt.
He's just
Can't
like
he cannot be
Zuckerberg.
trusted.
Zuckerberg stole his business. They're all crooks. We're going to find out the truth of Elon Musk. So guys, listen, questions, raise your hands, some comments. Look, people in the chat, I think your lives just died. I think it's paused. Maybe the network's down. People are saying, yes, there was coercion. People were threatened with job loss. Teachers, a lot of people did lose their jobs, had to relocate.
I'm wondering how long Hackham's going to have it on me and not on you.
People are talking about eugenics. I think I'm too good looking. I think it intimidates him at times. Eugenics. So there are a lot of things we learned about ourselves, about the country. But listen, guys, what really enthused us and what really affected us and made us push on with the Great Black Detox, and we said this so many times, but I'm not going to get tired of saying it, was the disproportionate deaths of black people due to coronavirus, right? And, we can drill down into what that really means. Regardless of the coercion, regardless of the corruption, regardless of where the virus came from, black people were dying disproportionately. The reason they said, even on the news, pre-existing conditions. What are these pre-existing conditions? These pre-existing conditions were your diabetes, your high blood pressure, your obesity, your other inflammatory diseases, things that can be managed with detox, things that can be managed through lifestyle management, right? They weren't teaching this. In fact, the few people that came out and said, things like D3, the right nutrition were things people needed to sort of take up to fight the chance of contracting coronavirus. The government came out and said, no, it's all, they're all wackos, right? It's all conspiracy. They're conspiracy parrots. There's nothing in D3. 6 months later, the government's now touting D3 as being one of the vitamins that people need to take. So it really turned us on to launch a national campaign. Now, we've been doing this for years. We've been creating detoxes. We've been healing people for a very long time. But that really alerted the whole world. And people started asking us a lot of questions. And I know Dr. Amsi, for one, got really pissed off with the P. Diddy Revolt right. TV's State of the Union type thing they did, where it was sponsored by McDonald's, right? One of the companies that's out there, not deliberately poisoning, but one could argue that. But putting the food out there, don't even start putting the food out there.
You're too this guy's too PC.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Right,
you're going to come
PC.
and tell them that
PC Lottie. Go ahead.
Now, it's Officer Lottie, by the way. So that really alerted us, and that's why the Great Black Detox, which is not PC at all, is very direct, because it's very critical that we talk specifically and directly to the people who are in need of this. And so one of the reasons why we even started these particular calls is so that people could ask questions, because it turned out that so many people are completely oblivious to nutrition. They believe in the standard American diet that nutrition is 3 meals a day, a hearty breakfast, a medium-sized or hearty lunch, and a really big supper, right? That, moderate amounts of alcohol and smoking and all these other insalubrious acts are all part of living in America, and don't worry about it. If you do get sick, hey, we've got this medication that can lower your cholesterol and manage your blood sugar and, thin your blood for you. This is the absolute wrong paradigm. It's the absolute wrong way of doing it. Our medicine comes from our food. Our food, unfortunately, guys, has been depleted of its nutrition, depleted of its nutrients, because of the way they've handled the soil, because of mass farming, because of pesticides, because of all the, goodness gracious, the crop dusting they're doing, right? Because of the genetically modified organisms that are being put into these farms. We didn't talk about the time, but they're creating all these worms to go and kill caterpillars and stuff. But those worms have a side effect, because they then die. Man, it's so pernicious. It's so devilish. If you really think about the world, we have one planet, guys. We have one planet. We have one nature. We're going to destroy it for greed. And this is what we're facing. So the Great Black Detox, guys, is here for you guys to really understand that, listen, so much of what you do, so much of your ailments, so much of your maladies, right, are caused by your lack of good nutrition. The reason why we do supplementation, the reason why we have the supplementation, because again, because the soil is so depleted, that means the plants we're eating are so depleted, regardless of how good they look, or how green they are, how orange the oranges are, how seedless the grapes are, which we'll get into that as well. They are void of their nutrients. So Dr. Amsu and the team, we scour the world basically to source the nutrition that your body needs, and we create these liquid supplements. And that's why our detoxes are so effective. That's why so many people have been helped by what we do. And that's why we continue to do these calls, so you guys can ask questions. So I know you didn't want to say anything, so I want to move on to Ruth. You had your hand raised, and you're going to agree with me on everything, aren't you, Ruth?
Of course not.
What do you mean, of course not?
No, that's not what I had my hand raised for, actually.
No problem.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was just speaking about monkeypox.
Okay.
It's very annoying. The thing, I think Amsu may have said that whether it kills. And the point is, from what what's out on the news in the UK is that it's unlikely to kill. It's a they're calling it the West African variant. It's quite.
Of course, it's the West African variant. That's what West Africa does. It sends diseases.
So there was actually some research that I'm just looking up now that the virus actually came into Ghana, believe it, from Jamaica. So put that in your pipe and smoke.
Yeah, but the point is, I mean, I was reading something earlier on this week that I've been trying to find it and I'm looking for it now. So hold on, bear with me a minute because you lot called me up too quickly.
Don't raise your hand until you're ready.
Don't raise your hand.
All right, here it is.
Play to the whistle. You know what I mean?
Just to say about monkeypox, it said it was first discovered in 1958 when 2 outbreaks of a pox-like disease occurred in colonies of monkey kept for research.
Right, so lab leak.
So it was developed in a lab, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, gain of function.
That's what they're telling me. And then they said the first human case was recorded in 1970 in DRC, so in Congo.
It's always Congo, isn't it?
Jungle.
During a period of intensified effort to eliminate smallpox. What I'm hearing there is that it's man-made and they injected presumably a vaccine to get rid of smallpox brought about monkeypox in Congo. So I'm hearing that they went out there on purpose, just like everything else. Something happens.
Are you hearing that or are you researching that? We got to be careful with our words here. We sound a lot more smart when we say, I've researched it. I hear say it.
No. When I say I'm hearing, it's what I'm reading into it. It's not really hearing. I'm reading. But what I get from it.
Right.
Yeah, is certain thing. So that's telling me that in all cases, so a lab with monkeys, there's something, so they call it monkeypox, and then it appears in Africa when they're trying to treat people for intensified treatment. I mean, that's for treating smallpox. And then if you go back, how did smallpox come about? And you keep on going back to everything, and it's always at the hand of some kind of vaccine.
And by whom's hands?
Well, I haven't gotten that far, but we likely know.
Are the white man?
You're a fool.
I mean, look. There's one thing about black people is that we like to mind our own business. We ain't trying to go and grab no bats from anywhere and get their secretions and start to put, you see what I'm saying? Start to try to, well, what happens if it infects the human body? The whole gain of function. When you think about gain of function, what kind of craziness is that? There's a virus that exists in rats, bats, whatever, and you're going to now probe it and splice it and increase its ability to infect humans. For what? So a year ago, that was a conspiracy theory that the lab leak theory was the theory, right? And what was fact was that Chinese wet market in Wuhan, that was the fact. It got the shit kicked out enough Chinese people, I'll tell you that much, right? They didn't think about that. And not even Chinese, anybody Asian, right? and we don't use the word Oriental, but Oriental-looking people, especially over here, they got the shit kicked out of them. Pardon my French, but that's what happened, right? People started saying the Chinese flu, the Chinese this, the Chinese that, even though, you know, even if it's a lab leak, it still come out of China, right? But remember all the, on social media, everybody was posting the delicacies, all the bat soup and the rat soups and the insect salads and all that they were eating in Asia, to say, look at these nasty people. This is how germs spread. This is what happened, right? And I'm just talking for Jamaicans. Look at the nasty
Basically,
people,
yeah.
right? It gave them a bad name. But that itself, the wet market was a theory, but it was being propaganda as fact. It was put out there like, this is the God's honest truth here. And anything else, people lost their social media accounts, were shut down. Anytime you post anything on IG to do with COVID, there's a message that comes up. Whether it's, fact check has found such and such, or this lacks context, or whatever. There's some boffin somewhere trying to tell you what the truth is. And that's the danger when we start dealing with a government body that's part of Homeland Security that decides what the truth is. Opinion becomes obsolete, will become obsolete. But go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, you finished there.
He does go on a bit, doesn't he?
I rant. I like my mini rants.
No, that was all I wanted to say at this time. I do have a couple of questions, but I need to formulate it a bit more before you have a go at me. So,
Sure, get your words together. Well, we do have a question. Sorry, Ruth. Carry on.
So I'm finished.
Okay. Always a pleasure. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't go anywhere. So we did have a question in from the IG, from the Empress 29. I think she's asking here if the endo detox would work well or work at all for adenomyosis, right? And if I'm mistaken, please update the question. But
yes, adenomyosis is endometriosis. It's just local to the uterus. All right, so it's the same thing, and it's localized. So, and I don't like to tell anybody, well, it's less severe, because the pain, the debilitating pain, and everything that comes along with it, and the possibility of infertility is still severe. But endometriosis is endometrial tissue that forms outside of the womb, right? So it can be on your liver, can be on your lungs, can even be on your brain, can be in your eyes. You know, it's more rare that it gets those places, but usually in the cervix. Yes, the Great Black Endo Detox is for adenomyosis and endometriosis. All right. And
whoever asked the question, please reach out to us as well. We have I'm not sure where let us know where you are. We have a number of endo groups that we follow and that follow us. And we're always sharing that information. A lot of what we do, a lot of the success that people have is by, having support groups, right? And a lot of people don't have support groups. And it's really sad each year, so many people are found, unfortunately, dead at home for ailments that could have been managed, but they just didn't have anyone to talk to, didn't have a support group. They felt they were alone. And endometriosis, again, number one reason why, especially black women, go to hospital each month because of severe pain. They're going to have to get epidurals, basically, right, each month because of pain from endometriosis. Number one reason women are taken to hospital in America is endometriosis. So you can just imagine how many women are sort of suffering alone. So let us know, and we can put you in touch with a group, probably in your area. We have some online groups that they follow us. And
not to mention the bleeding as well, heavy bleeding that, some women bleed 28 days out of the month.
Yeah.
Couple days off, and then it's back to the old 1-2. Then some women constantly bleed. They don't stop bleeding, whether they're spotting or gushing, right? and the gushing is just to give you a visual, right? Some women don't like to leave their house because they get halfway up the street and they got to go in and change. Some women wear diapers, nappies to keep, you know, to stop the spread, you know, and it's not pleasant at all. But then there's the pain aspect, and the pain aspect is the worst. So, you know, and this is the thing. What's strange is that, you know, we have a lot of detoxes, right? And 2 detoxes that we've noticed that, you know, they you know, we're in business, but we notice that we don't get that many. We get quite a lot, but we don't get as many. You know, we get less than half endo detox purchases than fibroids, and you know, it's almost like there's a sorority that you have to crack to get the message out there to women. Like,
and the other thing as well is that, you know, remember, allopathic medicine is put a, you know, because of the severity of the pain and women have to go to a hospital, there's this, I guess, you know, air of, you know, allopathic ownership of endometriosis, right? And so, you know, very few people who've come through that world and they've been suffering since they were maybe in their late teens even look to the holistic world for remedies, right? So I think a lot more of them would, as we're probably saying now, if they knew more about it. But I hate that word, awareness, but the awareness isn't there, right? So that's why we do this, and we hope to partner with those groups as well.
Well, the problem is endometriosis awareness month, it's the same old, surgery, hysterectomy.
Because again, like
it's the same old, like, you know, here's endo, and we don't know where it comes from. We don't know the root cause, and we don't know any cure for it. You're stuck with it. So the only thing we can do is take your womb out.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the awareness. That's and here's some painkillers. We recommend Motrin, or get on birth control. You know, we're going to give you Depo. And then, it does cause blood clots, but, you know, think about it. Which one do you prefer? A few blood clots or pain?
Yeah. On that, I don't think it's a good segue, probably. So, Love Life has dialed in. Hey, not seen you for a little while. And asking you to talk about smears, right? And I noticed a while ago, maybe last year, topic came up about, you know, perhaps smears and how frequently women were encouraged to go and get smears and how many of them were getting infections from the smears. But you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can, but I'm gonna
defer to someone way better looking than you, I'm sure.
There you go. So let's hear it for Dr. Keela.
she didn't hear the question.
I know, she's doing her nails.
She's doing her nails, literally doing her nails. You know. All
right, talk about smear tests, pap smears, Keela. Because I've never experienced one myself. So there's certain things that women don't want to hear a man talking. You don't know nothing about that. So
pleasant afternoon or evening, depending on where you are.
Indeed.
I'm Dr. Keela with Good Hair, Good Body. You really caught me off guard with that one. Pap smear. Basically, the purpose of Pap smear is screening for any atypical cervical cells that would be red flags for metaplasia, aplasia. Basically, the cell is changing its from normal behavior to more of a tumor or cancer-like behavior. If you know anything about the history of gynecology in this country, as a person of African descent, a woman of African descent,
it's animalistic.
It's a terrible gynecological history here for us. Okay. All I will say is, it is not a pleasant experience to have a pap smear. You have nerve endings on your surface. I don't care what the medical establishment says. You feel that scrape. But the purpose of that scrape, once they get that scrape of cells, it's like scraping the inside of your cheek with a spatula that is probably about let me see, about this long, very thin. They scrape the different quadrants, and then the area that leads to the orifice, which is the portal that leads to your womb. They scrape all of that, put it in a fixative to fix the cells at that state, and they send it off to a pathology lab to look at it under the microscope to see if there are any clues that the cells there are precancerous or cancerous. Once they determine that they're not, now let me just say, it's common to have some level of atypia, like atypical cells. You just don't want it beyond a certain threshold or with like definitive key marks that the cell is cancerous. There are a number of viruses, as you all were talking about different things developed in lab. There are a number of viruses out here that can change cellular behavior. Human papilloma virus is a big one. And I don't know if you all know this, but within the past, I'd say 12 years, HPV is kind of rampant, and especially among millennials and younger, because their sexual practices are different from those
they hooking
in
up
their 40s and older. Okay,
they don't have relationships no more. They're just putting it out there.
Right. And a lot of young women and young men are ending up with HPV in their eyes, in their nose, in their mouths, and all in their throats. Now, it can change the behavior of even your thyroid gland. There was someone a few years ago, I'd say about 10 years ago.
Before you go any further,
that passed because of it. I'm not going to say his name.
Before you go any further, Dr. Keela, so they are warts, right?
Yeah,
HPV
warts,
are known as genital warts, but you know,
right.
if they're not on your genitals, they're just warts that grow, right? So
and they're ugly.
And they're ugly. So when Dr. Keela's talking about they can be in your eyes, they can be in your nose and whatever. These are warts. These are growths of warts.
And they're getting there because a lot of younger people, because of access to internet and porn was the fastest growing industry that drove the development of the internet. I can honestly say, when I was even in the medical library as a medical student, if you saw a bunch of guys around a computer, you knew they were watching porn in the medical library.
When you say guys, are you talking about men or are we talking about non-binaries?
No,
don't pay attention to him. Don't pay attention. Keep. You were on the right lane.
No, you know, everyone's into porn, isn't it?
No, if I were to say that, if I was going to say non-binaries, I'll just say male, because man is a mindset as well as biology.
See.
And not everybody.
You ain't woke. You ain't woke, Dr. Keela. You ain't woke.
The brain.
You ain't woke. You gotta be woke.
So the thing about it is, a lot of parents are not talking to their sons and their daughters about things like this because they don't know. And you can't protect your children or even yourself against the things you don't know about. Mm-hmm. But I will say there are a number of tweeners and younger now, grade school children, who have HPV of their airway and they've never had sex before. It's because they got it while passing through the birth canal, through the vagina upon being born. That will mimic asthma. So a lot of young people have been diagnosed with asthma and they don't have asthma. They have HPV of their airway. Long story short, HPV can wreck your life. I've seen men that have had the head of their penises amputated behind it, or parts of the head. Women have lost their cervix behind it, even their inner labia. It wrecks your life completely. And one of the best ways to avoid contracting it is to be snooty about who you have sex with, and make sure you all, understand, short of your home, your body is the biggest investment you will ever have. You have to be snooty about who you're going to have sex with.
Mm-hmm. But here's the scary thing though, is
and
that
some people
a lot of people are
pass it on to
asymptomatic.
each other.
You have people who are asymptomatic,
Yeah.
right? Who are carrying and they don't know they're carrying. So, you know, like back in the day, it used to be like, what's your credit score? People are going to be walking around with their medical history. Like, I'm clean. When was the last time you was tested? We literally have to get to that. But again, the promiscuity and the the irresponsibility of the Gen Zs and what have you, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it.
Well, I think, with that is an education thing as well. There are so many things that we do in society now that, prior to that, they said we weren't going to do it, right? Everything from wearing seatbelts to wearing helmets on bikes. We don't want to leave the government to, legislate or mandate what happens. There is a community response. There's a response in the home. The people really talk about sex in the home. Is there sex education, real sex education? Is there relationship education? Now, people like to devoid the two, but in actual fact, think about it. If you're not having relationship talk, then you're not really having sex talk, because they're not really devoid. So if we're not teaching young people how to have relationships, how to nurture relationships, how to screen people, we're not teaching women how to screen men, okay? And we're teaching men, we're rewarding, I say men, young men, boys, we're rewarding young men and boys to go and, shag as many women as they can, right? And then we're rewarding young women to capture as many men as they can. And so we're actually breeding promiscuity, and we're not teaching people, proportions and so on and so forth. So I think there's a cultural community aspect to this, and we can't just keep looking to the government, because this is one of the sad things. We allow our communities and our homes to fail, then we blame the government. But if the government intervenes, then we point fingers at the government. Why you're in our bedrooms? So we need to start that at home. And I think,
the thing is, again, right? The amount of strains there are of HPV, I know, I got a hunch, but Manure said, I hear said, there's gain of function, yo. So the same way how, with coronavirus and there's so many diseases that were put into labs, right? We know about the whole syphilis situation that happened, where that was put into the black community, right? And let them go out there now, go forth and multiply. So the reason why we do not trust the government, and we will point the finger at the government, is because not only do the government's taken the power away from parents, parenting has been diminished by the government, right? Where in certain states, children can divorce their parents, right? It's only because in black homes, we don't have it. It's like, you ain't talking to me like that. Every black child knows. You hear stories of our generation speaking about how our parents used to string us up and whatnot, but we know it was necessary. We don't hold them like, man, they abused me. No, it's like, no, it was a standard of upholding our stand. It was a standard to be upheld.
Right.
That girls, it was a virtue. Virginity was a virtue. Then we see in white society, you got these white girls that would be teasing each other if they weren't virgins, and they're like 12 and 13. Right? So we have to look at everything from like HPV. How many strains of HPV are there? There's
a lot.
Lots. Enough. Probably over 100 now. Over 100 and I think 166 or something like that. Maybe 666. Let's say that. 666. Right? We've actually got a full protocol for HPV. We have a supplement called HPV, right? Because not only there's the genital wart side where it's ugly and whatnot, but then there's the cancer side, and the cancer side is no joke. So
and the thyroid side,
right?
Get it too,
right? And the thyroid gland is so important, right? And check this out. We try to let everybody know there are diseases or conditions that plague our community, and we as Great Black Detox Electric Food, we've developed formulas that deal with the case, that deals with it, right? And our responsibility, my responsibility as a scientist, as a formulating herbalist, right, is to my people. I love my people. So I try to get all these treatments or remedies, natural remedies for things that plague the black community out there, right? And we have to spread the word. You know, we need all of you guys as ambassadors to let people know when they ask, you know what, I have this condition. Well, check out Great Black Detox, see if they've got it. They've got, we've got my condition. We've got a whole grid of conditions, and that will grow as we develop new formulas, right? But the stuff that plagues the black community, we have those formulas. So we've got a pretty big list of conditions and diseases that we have something for. We have supplements and protocols for those conditions. We another one of our detoxes that is not selling us, say, our fibroids or our general detox 14, right, is our prostate detox, because black men are the hardest headed people to convince to even get them to a doctor. Now they got a condition. It's like, well, I'm going to take my chances with the same people that develop the gain of function.
Yeah.
So the whole pap smear situation, somebody asked, should we do it or not? That's up to you, right? It is painful, and sometimes instruments can cause infections. Medical accident is one of the biggest killers in this country.
Yeah.
Right? And when shit hits the fan, it's like they got insurance. So no one goes to jail.
Worse than that, an attorney, because a close relative of mine was killed in a medical procedure.
Sorry.
And when the family had to go in, they did not know that the majority of us were in healthcare. And I remember looking at his body right away, and I knew they did not have an anesthesiologist in there, because one of the first things you learn in rotations is how to properly intubate someone. And when you don't intubate them properly and you intubate their esophagus, which goes from their mouth to their stomach, instead of their airway, you create a situation called cardiac tamponade, where you inflate their stomach so much with air, it presses on their diaphragm, which presses on their heart. Their heart can't expand to gain blood and to pump it out. And at the same time, you cut off blood flow to the heart. So you create both a cardiac tamponade and a heart attack. Right. And it was one of the major hospitals in this country that was responsible for that death. And I remember...
We're going to say Johns Hopkins.
No. But... no, but in any case, what I learned in talking to attorneys was that what hospitals do is that they pay retainers to all the medical malpractice insurance, the medical malpractice law firms in that city, around that city, and around that state. So it will be like, say if it's Georgia, it will be Florida, maybe Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, North Carolina. So no matter where you go, they have already paid those law firms to only hurt them so badly, but they can recuperate that money within a day. Number two, they work with legislatures very quietly to put a cap on damages. And most people in the U.S. don't even know that.
Right.
Yeah.
And number 3,
right, go on.
If you are the survivor and you work in that hospital system or a neighboring hospital system with which they have business deals, or if you're a nursing or a medical student or a pharmaceutical student at that time, they will go so far as to touch your finances as an employee and your education as a student. So they have it wrapped up 360. And so it's important that you all come to presentations like this, because the general population, and particularly the population of African descent in this country, have no idea the extent to which things are so wrapped up that when you sit in your medical appointments, you don't even know what to ask. And programs like this afford you the knowledge so that you can sit on some level of confidence and ask questions and put your medical practitioner unawares that they can't treat you any kind of way.
Right. And another standard operating procedure of black people is wait until it's an emergency. Go to the ER. And when you go to the ER, you waive rights. You basically, you get all that paperwork and you're in so much pain or whatever that you're not even going to read it. And even if you did read it, you wouldn't understand most of it, but you sign away and you waive your rights. And your rights, the rights that you waive are basically, they basically tell you, we'll do whatever it takes to get you out of this jam, right? If we got to amputate or remove organs or whatever, you've given us permission. So a lot of black people go into anesthesia, general anesthesia, and when they wake up, something missing. Something's gone. You know, and again, malpractice and malfeasance, right? They're covered because those law firms there, they've already made prearranged. All right, we ain't doing no more than 70,000. We ain't doing no more than 80,000. So we got you. And then a lot of these doctors are bonded anyway, so it never comes out of their money. It ain't like they're gonna take a wage cut. Only way somebody goes to jail is if they were under the influence, if it's proven they were under any kind of influence or whatever, you know, they were on some form of medication or they're alcoholic or something like that. Right. But other than that, they're well protected.
Indeed. And most lawyers know this, but won't tell their clients.
Your attorneys are your best friends. They got that smile. They're like, we're gonna go get them.
Right. But they can only say so much because, believe it or not, the one group of people in this country who have limitations on what they can say are the same ones that work for the courts, and those are attorneys. And they can, if they talk beyond what the court wants them to say, not only will they be censured, they can easily lose their license.
Right.
So there's only so much they're going to say to you. And the other piece most people don't know is that many medical malpractice lawyers, and I learned this from a medical malpractice lawyer, a veteran, most of them coming out of law school go to work for the hospitals first, defending the hospitals when they are wrong or have wronged patients and families. Then maybe about 7 years down the line, they go and work for a medical malpractice firm. But if the money is not good enough, they go back to work for the hospital.
Right. It's a money thing, blatantly. So, you know, thank you very much, Dr. Keeler.
Thank you, Keeler, as always. I know you won't be going anywhere. We had Todd. Todd had his hand up. He I think he may have lost his line or something. Miss Laverne, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
We're doing great, Laverne. We used to cooperate with us and unmute your camera.
Not today.
That's like when you put the ring on the finger, you know, change, switch up, everything switch.
No more breakfast, lunch, or dinner. TV
Okay,
dinners, microwave dinners.
So, question for you, as regards to my my detox that I'm on, can I use the I asked about it for my son, but I know I used to drink it too. Can I still use that black mulberry juice whilst I'm doing this detox?
See, if we say yes to you, a lot of people are gonna start going out and buying juices and saying, "Can I do this?"
Which detox?
You're on the 14, right?
No, I'm not doing a 14.
doing
I'm on
14,
the
she's doing the-
eliminate.
Fiber elimination.
Oh, yeah. You can have black mulberry juice. Yes.
Because I know it's sweet.
Especially women who are anemic as well, because black mulberry juice is very high in iron.
Did you say it's sweet? You said.
It is sweet.
Yeah, I water that down.
Yeah,
I kid you not,
I dilute it.
If I have a glass of this, I kid you not, maybe a quarter and then fill it with water. You cannot drink that out of the bottle. I know that much.
You can.
I don't.
You can, and it ain't gonna. But remember, the
sweet.
amount of mulberries that they use to create a bottle. So you know, it's not gonna harm you, but it's the sweetness that whether your tolerance of sweetness or not. You know.
Okay, and what about the exercises that you have in the outline? Because I do workout, so I'm like, do I have to do that and workout too? Do I?
You have a regimen, and I wouldn't want to interrupt your regimen.
I think she's asking about specific exercises.
I know.
For fibroids, yeah.
So, but this is what I'm saying. The qigong is absolutely key, but the other exercises, the conventional exercises, if you have a regimen and you know you work out, a lot of women, you have to look at it like this. You're advanced when it comes to workout and training and stuff. A lot of women that are out there, you know, are obese and they have sedentary lifestyle. So the few exercises that we put in there, some women look at it and think, I ain't doing all of that. I don't know about you, but I ain't doing all of that. Even though there are not that many exercises, you know, but it's to change their lifestyle that they become less sedentary, become more active, live more of an active lifestyle. You know, but for you specifically, you have an exercise regimen that you do because you know you are
An athlete.
You're an athlete basically. So
I'm an athlete mother. Okay, so the next question is, do you have the qigong like recorded, like on like a
Video?
video?
Do you not have the video?
Yeah, we got video link. So I'll do you have the link there that you can send? No. Before we had our operative here had all the links available, but I'll send you that. I'll send you the link.
Because following the instruction, I'm on the paper, I'm a bit slow. I'm sorry. It's like, am I doing this right? But if I actually looking at somebody doing it, I think it would be better. I haven't done it much, be honest with you.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So those were you said for the flowers is the buckwheat that might be a little safer to use than the spelt.
Yes, spelt still has gluten in it. So buckwheat is gluten free.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
So and coconut flour's best though.
I put the link in the chat, Laverne, to the qigong.
In the chat, okay. Can you send? I
can WhatsApp it to you. I think maybe.
Can you send to my email address if I put it there? If I give you it?
Ooh. Yeah, I can do that. We'll find you. I think we have you on in our system somewhere.
Yeah, you do, but I can put it in the chat here for you if you want me to.
I know.
You can send it to You can send it to me directly. Oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
For bless.
Blazian. Bless up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You got me right. Okay,
I got
bless
you.
Okay, great. So I have it on my computer. I just click on it. All right, thank you. Those were my questions. I just want to make sure I'm doing the right things.
That's the right one because Rick switched it up.
He did. Now you're telling me. Let's
check.
Oh. Yeah.
All right.
All right. It's on its way to you, Laverne.
Thank you.
You see that customer service? Look, live on the call. We're filling with customer service issues.
Thanks, Guy.
Thank you,
All right,
Laverne.
you're welcome.
So, Dr. Amsi, there were some other questions flying around. I was trying to capture as many as I could. And some statements. So just going back very quickly to maybe Dr. Keeley may want to talk to this. Someone's asking, so if we don't go and get pap smears, how do we know we have cancer, right? And I guess the question is sort of like, well, if you guys are suggesting, we should,
we do not say that they shouldn't.
I'm not saying we said that we did. I'm
Right.
just echoing the question is that if we are to have concerns about pap smears and how they're doing them and, some of the complications from them, and it's a valid question. Say, hey, what do we do about monitoring and checking for cancer, Dr. Keeler?
9 times out of 10, you wouldn't even know it
Right.
until you
Regardless,
become
right?
symptomatic. You wouldn't know it. There are a lot of organs. Think about it. You have your bladder, and then behind that, your uterus, and then behind that, your rectum, and then behind that, the caudal part, the lowest part of your spinal cord. You probably wouldn't know it unless you had bloating or instances of pain, back pain, or pain on sex. You wouldn't know because you wouldn't be able to discern 9 times out of 10 which organ is really being affected.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing: is with anything, early detection is better than late detection. So it's one of those things where it's how often you go for those pap smears, right? How often do you do it? Now, if you have a pap smear and then you're leading a healthy lifestyle, that you've taken charge of your life and your environment and what you put in and on and what's around your body, then it minimizes your risk where you don't have to be like, every so often, because there's so many tests that are out there for different forms of cancer. There's the mammograms that women have, right? Mm-hmm. That's painful as well. They basically put your breast in a clamp, and that's not, and that sometimes can cause issues as well. So it's where if you believe you're at risk, go and get a smear test, right? But how often you do that smear test is at your discretion, but if you're not putting yourself at risk, like if I'm sleeping around, I probably will get some
STD or something.
STD tests
right.
done
frequently. So,
but if I'm married,
even more frequently, you dirty stop out.
No, if I'm married, it's like every birthday.
Coach Aggie's on. I know Coach Aggie's got extensive experience working in oncology with oncologists in the pharmaceutical area. You got your hand raised, Coach Aggie. What did you want to share?
Yeah, just to tag on to what Dr. Amsi said. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm actually breathing heavily while I'm the machine at the gym. But anyway, the mammogram, yes, definitely the pressure from clamping the breast for the procedure, but then also the fact that it's actually radiation that's being used to scan the breast. And so that in itself can cause cancer. And top researchers have said that, but obviously they're giving the pushback by the pharmaceutical industry. They're like, yeah, test them, early screening, because we're going to catch these women early. And we've got a medication for early, for stage 1 or DCIS, which is barely breast cancer. They want to find a drug for every stage, even pre-stage cancer. And so the screening itself, you have to be questioned. But at the end of the day, like Dr. Anthony said, if you're leading a healthy lifestyle, you're minimizing your toxic exposure, and you're minimizing your risk, if you're boosting your immunity.
Right.
Because all of us have cancer cells floating around our bodies, but our immune cells take care of it. It's only as we're getting older where our immunity is getting weaker that you start to see cancers occurring. So, for example, it used to be the fact that a risk factor for breast cancer is advanced age. postmenopausal women. And that's because by that time, their immune system has gotten weaker. And that's only through lifestyle, actually poor diet and stress, all these things. And, you're seeing a change in our society where people are living longer, eating a little bit healthier. So, there's this cross kind of parallel where we're getting more toxic exposure, but we are living longer. So we need to kind of draw the lines together a bit better and improve our immunity at the same time that we're advancing in age and having a longer life expectancy. And it's then, combat all of it. Also, what we do at Great Black Detox is detox, right? Mm-hmm. And so that in itself helps the body to heal itself. You hear of people that have cured themselves of stage 4 cancer from fasting.
Yes.
Just doing a 40-day, 45-day fast has, reversed their cancer. It's untraceable. This is from stage 4, advanced stage cancer, completely eliminated from fasting. But people should be afraid of cancer because it's a metabolic disorder. And so when you change things about your diet, nutrition, and metabolism, the body is equipped to take care of cancer. So we need to stop seeing cancer as a scary thing because we're equipped to deal with it. It's the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry that teaches you that chemotherapy is your only answer.
Right.
Which is not true.
Right. Chemotherapy or radiotherapy, right? And again, allopathic medicine, it scares the world into its narrative, right? Into its system. And there are alternatives, and that's why we do what we do, is that no, there's an actual better choice. But because people like that, they like the miracle pill. Like, well, I can do all the shit I want to do, right? And then you guys will fix me up. I take this chemo or whatever, and they don't deal with, there's no nutrition in any of it. So they're not even saying, here's the cheap, affordable way to maintain optimal health. They're like, well, just do as you're doing. Go and buy your food from Walmart, right? And when you get sick, we got you.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, oops, it didn't work out. Right? When it doesn't work, it's like, yeah, well, it didn't really work out. So what can we tell you?
Sorry.
Palliative care, hospice, death.
There you go.
And it's just completely, the person I'm thinking of right now, this guy was told by his doctors in France, sorry, but we just have nothing more that we can do. But we can give you some great medications for the pain, and you've probably got about 5 months.
Yeah.
The guy said, no way, I don't believe that. And he did his own research and learned that he can fast and eat foods that are anti-cancer foods, natural foods from God's earth, and he is now cancer-free. Not a lick of chemotherapy at all. And so, the narrative, it's just bogus. This is how the pharmaceutical industry makes money. When you hear the word prevention, they get nervous. When you hear the word cure, they don't like it.
Yeah.
And they are powerful companies worth billions. One brand, let's think about a brand for acid reflux, for example. They call that a mega brand because that product by itself was a multi-billion-dollar product. So think of a company that has dozens of products. These companies are worth billions upon billions. And so they use that power and they deceive the public when everything we need is within us.
And you have this revolving door between pharmaceutical companies, people high up in pharmaceutical companies, and the actual government and Congress. You got secretaries of medicine and science and all that. They used to work for Pfizer, right? You got ex-Pfizer employees working for the FDA. Then you got ex-FDA employees working for Pfizer, And then Pfizer sponsors all the news on every channel, right? Every channel that's out there. So I'm sure everybody's seen on social media when everyone's saying the exact same thing on the news. You have all these news channels and they all repeat the exact same information presented to you by Pfizer. So there's this whole, and this brings me back round to the disinformation, misinformation governance board. They're going to tell us what the truth is. They're going to dictate what the truth is. And if you're not repeating what we're saying, we're going to hold you accountable. You know, Homeland Security is going to hold you accountable. Does that mean that you can go to jail?
Maybe one day.
The sad thing about it is that, you know, medical professions work so hard, they work long hours, and they're just trying their best. But it's not their fault they don't know. The medical schools only want them to tout pharmaceutical agents. They're taught pharmacology instead of nutrition. You know, it's just misguided, and they're none the wiser. These people have aspirations of healing people. They want a career in healing and taking care of the sick, but they are just forced down this funnel of pharmacology to prop up these pharmaceutical industries, and at the end of the day, the insurance companies. Indeed. You know, hashtag John Q. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, and we've talked about in the past as well the difference between, you know, a lot of people they sign up to be healers and they end up not being healers. They end up being pharmaceutical technicians. You know, there are very few healers out there. That's the impression we get. Dr. Keeler's a healer. Dr. Amps is a healer. Maybe even I'm a healer. You're a healer. You know, accredited or not. But then you have people with tons of accreditations, you know, all the accolades, but they're not healing. They're just prescribing. They're just, you know, they're drug pushers. They're underwriting. They're writing prescriptions for all manner of conditions. It's really sad because, as you say, there are probably a lot of really great healers out there that never actually got to be healers, you know. Listen,
and they're taught about drugs by sales reps, not by scientists, by sales reps.
Well, scientists.
No, I'm trying to listen.
No, she's saying that sales reps are scientists. Oh, but they're not the scientists.
They're not the scientists, right? But remember we were talking about Dope Sick. Watch Dope Sick. Them sales reps were teaching doctors, general practitioners, about the efficacy and the slow release and all that, all the science behind oxycodone, right? Was being taught by sales reps, and they had no medical history or any scientific accolades behind them. These were salesmen, salespeople, right? And it goes to show you really don't know who you know who's behind your GP, who's signing. You know, there's this experiment, and you always see these movies. There's this experimental drug that's being developed, you know, and it may be your only hope. Are you in? You know, and you sign it away because you don't want to die.
Yeah. So listen, guys, the conversation is deep and broad and wide, and there's so much to talk about, and we will revisit these, of course, every week. We're not leaving just yet. Did have some more questions from Canada, up in Toronto. Mr. Love Live is asking, and this is a question maybe all three of you guys can maybe chip in on, and Dr. Amsu. The question is, do multiple terminations, and we're talking about, you know, pregnancies, do multiple terminations cause or create a greater increase or chances of fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis? I think the question is that do multiple terminations cause damage that could lead to those conditions, or is it separate? Is it a separate, you know, set of
I mean, when it comes
issues
to fibroids, I wouldn't associate that with that, but it does leave you more susceptible to infections. Absolutely, you know, because they have to perform the DNC, right? And that is another scraping procedure that leaves, you know, endothelial cells wide open to infection. Any form of surgery that you have where they cut you open, right? Where you have to be cut open or scraped or whatever, right? And even with C-sections, right? They leave you susceptible at higher risk of infection, of other conditions. Any procedure where you, all right, here's some antibiotics. Why do I need to take antibiotics? What's the purpose of an antibiotic? To stop infections from spreading, right? When you get cut open, you're now open to bacteria and pathogens, right? Then there's the instruments, then there's, you know, medical accident, you know, people get sewn up and the sponge is still in them, right? People get sewn up with materials in them. But multiple termination. Remember, your body goes through natural cycles. Gestation, there's processes that your body is preparing for. There are chemicals, there are hormones that are involved in pregnancy. When you terminate that willfully, you're disrupting the natural flow of your body, right? There are women who have spontaneous abortions, right? Where they're unable to go through gestation period because of something, whether it's hormonal imbalance or some other, something that's making them more prone, putting them at higher risk of miscarriage, right? And these things, all of them need to be addressed. But when somebody willfully puts themselves, and I'm not, what's the case that's going on right now? Roe v. Wade, right? We're not like anti-abortionists or anything, but the more terminations you have, you're weakening yourself. You're weakening your whole constitution, right? Your endocrine system is being disrupted. Your body's in preparation and then it's cut short. All right? So that's a trauma. Every single surgery is a trauma. Every time if you get a cut on your hand, that's a trauma. There's a cascade, there's a biological, chemical, hormonal cascade that takes place when you cut your hand or your foot. So when you cut open your body and you cut organs and that, there are multiple metabolic processes that take place to bring you back to homeostasis. But when you're under attack, the immediate response is a stress response. Then there's the immune response. And all of these things are highly inflammatory.
Indeed. Okay, so, and thanks for that question. I think you've got another question, actually. You've got a lot of stuff coming from Canada. Interesting question, and maybe, I know Coach Ag, if she's not on the treadmill, maybe chip into this. We're talking about toxins. And the question is, should young boys, getting into puberty around the age 15 and so on, be using shaving kits, the creams and all the, the shaving gels and powders, or should they just, use razors and shears and stuff like that? And it's a big question because remember, they're marketed to, right? So, shaving cream is not benign,
Listen.
I know the answer already, but go ahead.
You already know the answer. Listen, if there's something that you can apply on your skin that removes the hair, that's some toxin. It's a toxin, blatantly. Even bug spray, off. You know why I stopped using off? Years and years ago. I flared up. I did one of them jobs. Right, these mosquitoes ain't getting me today. Mm-hmm. I whelped up. I was like, I should have read the label. Why didn't I read the label? What's in this? What's in this shit? When you read the amount of chemicals that's in there, and a lot of them are carcinogenic. A lot of them are, it's not even like it could cause a cough or sneezing or, it could burn your eyes. No, these are carcinogens. So just do research, just read the side and pop it into Google and say side effects of this particular.
Can I jump in on this as well about, the research part, right? Absolutely do your research. But remember we talked about this, and this is like in my brain, my limited monkey brain, right? I have a very simple fundamental. If there's any chemical that does the job that should be done in nature, or does any kind of miracle job, straight away, my alarm bells are ringing, right? So think about it. Dr. Empty said it. There's a cream that either softens up the hairs on your face, or opens the pores up on your face, or in fact even removes the hairs on your face. What is in that cream? There is nothing in nature that does that job chemically. Do you see what I mean? Well, this is what I'm saying. So if you match, so you take whatever product it is and you think, right, what does that in nature?
Right.
And you marry those together, you think, would I use that thing in nature? Then probably I shouldn't be using that thing chemically that's bought in the store. Now, what they'll tell you that, they have mild toxicity, right? They're mildly toxic. However, you do this, some men have to shave, their whole back, their legs, arms, faces. Even if you do that 3 times a week, how long are you going to have a hairy face? So for 30, 40 years, you're doing this, 2-3 times a week. It's cumulative. They're not just cancerous, carcinogen. They affect sperm count. As a sperm, I think he was talking about, Dr. Amsu, can be caused by these chemicals,
Yes,
okay?
oligosperm.
Right. So these chemicals.
Same like bleaching. You want to talk about face? People bleach their skin. Jamaica, Nigeria, Ghana. I think Ghana's like...
No, Jamaica's number one.
No,
because guys in Ghana don't do it.
The
The singers in Jamaica are doing it. You know what I mean?
You got the chicken pox. What's it called? The monkey pox
Someone,
of bleach.
Can you pull up a picture of Vibes Cartel, please? We'll see what light skin guys are doing in Jamaica right now. No, but all joking aside, these chemicals are very pernicious and very dangerous. So yes, if I've never used shaving cream. I think I tried it when I was a kid because it was like that's the thing to do to get that little shiny, the little gold thing with the red writing on it. It's like to be a man now, you have that shaving cream, But there's something about it I never got into. I'm not a hairy guy too much, so thank God I've never really needed it that much. But I don't use product. I don't use any chemicals. There's something about them that just irks me generally. Do you know what I mean? So I
had a Jerry curl when I was a youngster.
Up to recently, right?
I had a Jerry curl. I was like 11. Got a Jerry curl. Now what? And come on, everybody wanted. Is it just me? But
Just
in the 80s, everybody wanted a Jerry curl.
It's just you, bro.
But my oldest brother had an accident. He was getting his hair, a home job, and
Jerry
it
curl
leaked down. It leaked down. And I'm putting his business out there, but you know what? It was long ago, so we've gone past statute of limitations. Went onto his genitals and burnt him, right? And my sister's on this call. She's probably going to say, "Oh my days," right? But anyway,
was he curly down there?
It was smoother.
It was easy to comb.
You could run a comb through that joker, mate. No, but that made me like that's the first time I was 11 years old and I realized what chemicals were. The power of chemicals. Like, I ain't messing with that shit. I ain't gonna mess with none of that stuff. So after my Jerry curl dried out through lack of activator, right? After like 7 to 8 days, it was done. My hair was done, right? Plus the bird that pooped in my Jerry curl, right? As I got up to go to school, I was so nice, Went outside, a bird shat in my hair. That was it. I was like, someone's telling me somewhere I ain't supposed to have a Jerry curl. Then what happened with my brother, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm leaving the whole perm thing alone, right? But think about it. How many black women, right? And we ain't even talking about the men, right? Because generally, even though a lot of footballers, when they first came to the Premier League, they did have that conch, right, going on. But a lot of black women to this day are still relaxing their hair. They're still putting in the lye situation, LYE, and all the chemicals that are absorbing into their bloodstreams, and it's giving them fibroids, it's giving them endo, causing PCOS and other things. These are endocrine disrupting chemicals that sit on the scalp, right? And a lot of women end up with things like alopecia because they've done burnt and scarred their scalps and whatever, right? Let alone what's going into their bodies and causing issues down the road. These endocrine disrupting chemicals and other toxins that are carcinogens, it's rampant in the black community, but we just go about life, and when we have some issue, we think it's hereditary. We think, my auntie had this, my uncle had that, my dad had this, so when I have it, it's like, no, you've been exposed to the same toxins.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to have cancer. Our bodies can do, just like with bacteria and pathogens and all that, there's a difference between a pathogen that is supposedly from nature getting into your body, and we have stuff to deal with it within our body. We have an immune system. When there are, these man-made, synthesized chemicals that we put, these substances that we ingest, who knows what they're going to do until, you know, there's some expose down the line. Remember asbestos being used for insulation, right?
Clothes.
A wonder. It was, you know, asbestos was great. The first commercials for asbestos, if you guys see those commercials now, you'd be like, wow. But so many people use lead pipes, lead paint, being advertised as more, you know, more robust, cause cancer, carcinogens.
So, segueing from that as well, and thanks Love Life, she actually added to the questions that, you know, the chemicals was one thing, but she's even asking about the shavers themselves, right? And I think and again, clarify if I'm wrong, about shavers as opposed to scissors, right? And so, of course, scissors, you're cutting the hair and the hair will grow back and it doesn't really touch the follicle. However, the shavers, depending on the type of shavers, especially the ones that men use, we have the T-bar and we have the Aldis, the one I use, was good, which gets really close down to the follicle and it actually can get quite hot sometimes. Now, here's the thing. With shaving machines, it's the quality of the machine and the sharpness of the blade. If the blade is dull, that's where it starts to pull and you're going to get ingrown hairs. So a lot of times when you go to get, you know, these barbers, they're using old equipment. And it's now, a lot of good barbers.
It's how sanitary as well.
I was about to say, if they're not sanitary and sterilized, you can get infections. And again, you know, the ingrowing hairs, and it can actually affect the skin on the face as well. However, if the blades are clean and they don't allow them to get too hot, it's actually good for rejuvenating the skin because it actually helps to clear away dead skin. So shaving is okay, but again, it comes down now to the equipment. The other thing as well, when a barber uses bad equipment or it's too hot, you notice that they'll line up the little boys and then it will start to recede too early. It's because they've been burning the cuticles or the follicles, whatever it is in the hair, with the hot blade. They're basically cutting the scalp every time. So it's more about application. And so if you have young boys and they're starting to shave, yeah, you can cut the afros with a pair of scissors. But if you want to line them up, again, make sure the razors are sharp, they're not too close to the edge, and they're sterile.
My sideburns, right? Which side? On my right side, it used to connect when I was younger, and
you were
one of them niggas, that barber, burnt me up, man. I remember I was, and it never came back.
You used to look like the barge, didn't it, when you were younger?
Listen, I was growing in my Elvis flex, man, and I got burnt. And that's why I don't grow a beard now.
A lot of people have been damaged by hairdressers and barbers, and over time, sometimes it's like a single incident. You know, people left under the blow dryer too long with some chemicals. You know, they get cut. And guys, again, man, I remember I was back home recently, and there was a young girl, and I don't think she'd ever had her hair cut, and her hair was like way down into her forehead, right? And people look at that and think, man, it's not well groomed, but it's such a beautiful thing that, you know, every follicle, every cuticle in on her head was growing hair. There was no, receding of the hairline. She wasn't doing the chemical edging and the little twirls and all the rest of it. And it's such a beautiful thing. I know we're going to, we're probably digressing too much. I want to get to questions, but we don't love ourselves. We don't love ourselves. We don't trust each other. All of these things play a part in what we're talking about. Why we don't look at ourselves for healing. We don't even trust our own bodies to heal ourselves, And, again, it's a whole different conversation. We can come back to that. I want to get to the questions because we will be finishing at 7 today. Crystal B, you had a question. I'm going to come back to Marcinek. I know Marcinek was running around. Crystal, what can we do you for today, Crystal? It's been a while. We haven't heard from you.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm glad you guys have your
my jacket. The calls are back. Okay, yeah.
Wednesday night, so that's perfect. But yeah, I had a question. I have a relative who survived prostate cancer, and he actually ended up getting the. So he got, I guess, surgery, and it's, I guess, a machine that is a procedure. He didn't go too much in detail in it, and it was very painful and uncomfortable as a man. And he was telling me, and he's like, ever since he got that procedure, like, when he go use the bathroom, it's not the same. He didn't go into detail about that. So he knows that I I've been doing the actually I'm on the 14-day detox right now. I'm doing a detox again, and I told him that I'm doing that. He was like, oh, he's interested in it, and he wanted to know, like, if he takes that, like, will that help him with his bladder issues?
Okay, so is he basically losing control of his ability to urinate on demand? Is he having accidents?
Yeah, he said it's a little leakage. Yeah.
Hold on, there's different things. Incontinence is what Dr. Amps is asking about. You're saying it's a bit weak, you said?
Yeah, he's experiencing some leakage. Like he's
right.
He has to be,
okay. Right.
And actually, I had that problem too. Like I had the same. I don't know if it's hereditary, but I've had the issue since I was a little girl, and that was again, it came from me just holding it for so long because I'd go outside and play, or I'm in the bed and I'm scared to go to the bathroom in the dark, and it's just been hell ever since. So ever since I did this detox, it went away, and I think it's because you have the chickweed. I mean, it's a chickweed ingredient in the Essence supplement. But going back to him, he's just wondering that, and also I'm just a little concerned since he's gotten that cancer taken out because it was really small. He still eats meat. He's cut out the dairy. He doesn't drink any. I think he was drinking non-fat milk and cheese. He's cut all that, but he still eats meat from time to time. Now, I know you guys have the prostate detox, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if he, get that detox and goes through that whole process, does he need to eliminate meat completely, or is it okay for him? Because it's hard. I've been trying to get him to get off of it, and his wife, her diet's not the best, so it's hard because she does the cooking. So it's like, okay, is it okay for him, if he does a detox, maybe eliminate it a little bit, or what are your suggestions?
Definitely keep the wife vegan side chick. But seriously though, whenever you have surgery, there's a chance that something else that they didn't tell him about, if he's having difficulty difficulty holding his bladder, right? Holding his urine, that he's getting leakages and all that. That's a medical accident that's taken place. Now, did they remove his prostate totally, or did they just cut the cancer?
I believe they just cut the cancer out.
Okay, so they didn't deal with the root cause, right? And men who have even with benign prostatic hyperplasia, right? There's the prostate is basically inflamed or grows to where it's pressing on the bladder, right? And it affects the sphincters that are in the ureters, right? That are in the pathway of the urine. Urethra. Right? So you have ureters and urethras, right? And you have sphincters that open and close. And when surgery takes place, there's a chance that, and even if there was no surgery, right, he might have been having leakage before, but whenever there's surgery, there is going to be some inflammation that takes place. But there could have been where something was nicked that wasn't supposed to be. So there's so many variables of it. Now, they didn't address the root cause. So whatever his lifestyle was before, when he had the cancer, has he removed those risks from his lifestyle or diet? So if he still eats meat, he's still at risk, because who knows what's in meat? And then how is he cooking the meat? Mm-hmm. What kind of carcinogens are being created by the method of cooking the meat? And then there's, again, what other substances is he ingesting at the same time? What other substances? what other carcinogens, what's around, what's in his environment, what's in his household, what household products does he use, what does he use as form of, does he shave, does he use aftershave, what's in that aftershave, what's in his lotion that he puts on his skin, so there's so many variables where, the lifestyle that when we talk about the electric lifestyle, it's about removing all forms of toxins. What you put in you, what you put on you, what you are exposed to that's around you. You can't control the outdoors, the environment, but you can certainly control your indoor environment, So him having issues, there are qigong exercises as well as with the supplements that we encourage, and turtle breathing and bladder exercises which strengthen the bladder, strengthen the urethra and ureters, right? Kidney exercises. So urologists deal with specific glands, right? And he has to improve the health of all urological glands. So there's a lot for him to do because he was exposed to a cancer. So he has to take it very seriously, and it's up to him what meat he gives up. My recommendation is dash all of them.
All of them.
Right.
But it's up to him. I got family members who have issues, and then when I tell them cut out meat, they're like, man, you know what? I'm going to take my chances.
Yeah, I have friends that I tell them the same thing. I've cut out meat completely since I've been doing the detox, and I've noticed a difference. A lot of issues I were dealing with, like I had swelling in my left ankle that went away as soon as I went plant-based and went through the detox.
Right.
So I tell them that, and they're like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay, that's all you can do.
Right, and there you go. You it's just like there are books out there, even on YouTube. How do you do this? You could YouTube it and see it. Right. But I take my car to a mechanic. I ain't trying to get under the car and get dirty and stuff, get all oil in my fingernails. You see what I'm saying? But that's something that I've decided, you know what, I'm not going to change. This guy's always saying, have you ever changed a tire? No, I ain't changed. I think I have done, though. I think I've changed a tire. But I don't want to. I don't want to. But when it comes to my body, I don't want somebody else probing around on my body unless it's an emergency that I'm in an accident and something's hanging off and they have to save my life. But I don't like putting my life in other people's hands. So I look after myself.
Another issue too is that he needs to get a knee replacement as well. So that of course requires surgery. And
how old is he, Crystal?
He turned 51 this year.
Wow.
February. Yep. I'm concerned because this is my brother, and he's like, we're like twins. We were very, very.
So I'll ask a silly question: is he generally healthy? What would you say his general?
Like football in high school and college. I mean, he was super healthy, and
right, college and high school. But what about the last 5 years, 10 years? What's his health been like? Is he athletic? Is he sedentary?
He was working out for a while, and he stopped because of work and all that stuff, and he also has a family and all that. So
he was an athlete that played ball.
Yep.
All right. So right there, most athletes they do so much damage to their ligaments, to their joints and ligaments, to tendons and all that, because they're jumping, they're twisting, they're running hard and fast, and they come to a sudden stop. They change direction. They're doing twists, all kinds of stuff, compromising, putting trauma on joints all the time, right? And are they taking nutrition, any form of nutrients that help to repair? They usually don't. And when they have injuries, they rest up and take painkillers. Painkillers don't help you to repair. They just hide the fact that you're in pain from your brain. You know, that's all they do. So a lot of athletes that go through and like, you know, nobody likes to be on the bench. Nobody wants to be benched, right? And out through injury. So they try to get back in. It's like, coach, put me back in. I'm ready. Nah, you need more time, man. And they, you know, or they get surgery, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever. And then when now they stop playing, those injuries start flaring up because these are, you know, these are compromised tissues. And, you know, the old thing, man, I can tell it's going to rain because my joints are acting up. It feels a bit tight. Going to rain again, right? You got so many people go, you know, with their knees, their hips, whatever, their elbows, with their shoulders. And without correct nutrition, your body is not going to repair itself as it should. Muscles, tendons, ligaments, they all need attention. They need focus. They need nutrient therapy when they are damaged, and they don't get that. They, you know, the pasta parties. We always talk about the pasta parties.
In fact,
you know, take stuff. You know, some people take steroids. Sometimes steroids are good because it will accelerate
healing in
some cases, but it's not cure-all, right? And then there's side effects, especially synthesized steroids, right? So the body produces steroids, right? Steroidal hormones, right? Mm-hmm. Testosterone is a steroidal hormone. Estrogen is a steroidal hormone. Cholesterol, you have androgens, other androgens. You have adrenaline, cortisol. These are steroidal, right? And they have their specific purposes, but when they're unregulated, you know, they will cause havoc in the body. They will wreak havoc, right? So athletes, a lot of athletes, a few years after retiring, some of them are in wheelchairs. Some of them need walking sticks.
You know, I want to, Crystal, don't go anywhere. Corey, are you on? Is that, I'm not sure if he's on mute or not. I don't know if he stepped away from the machine. But Corey, if you're on, let me know if you're on. I wanted to bring you in here because I know you have if it's the Corey, I think it is. I hope it is. You may have some experience you may want to share with us.
Yeah, I'm on, man. I'm believing it or not, I've been listening, but I'm actually out on the Silver Comet. Sorry.
Okay, you're on the Silver Comet. On the bike or you?
Oh, you're on the bike?
No. Can't do the bike because of what I was telling you about you know, with the AFib. So this is very, very, very interesting. I've been really, really listening to you guys. I'm coming to your office because you know my situation. I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, like how do I reset, I guess, if you will, or just, you know, start over, period, man.
The reason I brought Corey on, because Corey is an ex-athlete, played professional football for, you know, 2 very big NFL teams, and is in the age group. Crystal is your brother, and he and I talk all the time, and he expressed to me, you know, how many of these conditions he's had to deal with and how many he's dealing with right now. And he's had a very traumatic experience and a very impactful experience, and I wanted to invite him on. And in fact, he's actually going to come in. We're going to do a whole thing with him because it talks to a lot of men. We're talking, Dr. Amsi, about men not coming forward, men not dealing with their situations, wait until it's, you know, the red light, wait until it's stage 5. And Corey, I don't know if you have time now, very quickly. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do it now, we can do it another time. Sort of overview of your story, because I really want. I know there's a lot of men on the call.
No. I mean, I don't want to take from other people on the call, because you know my story is crazy. But you know, to give them, I guess you could say the so-called quote unquote Cliff Notes version is. I retired from playing ball. I played for the Bills and the Falcons. Retired 2001, so I'm an old man now. But as you guys said, you know, like a lot of not just athletes, but just really people in general, man. You get you get caught up in trying to make a living and forgetting that while you're trying to make a living, you know, you got to also have a life and quality of life. So to give you an example, my last year plan, I was 345, you know, somewhere along the line. Now I'm 6'8". You can't see me now. I'm
You're a big
now
man.
down to like yeah, but now I'm down to like 270.
You lost all the weight, yeah.
So anyway, retired, went right into the business world, and I was a partner in a firm, and you know, ultimately I was the mouthpiece for the company. So I was essentially taking out middle-aged white men every day, all day for breakfast, lunch, dinner, Monday through Friday, living in New York City. And my doctor was like, yo, what are you doing? I was like, what? He's like, you have gained like 50 pounds since you started coming to me. And I was like, nah. He was like, yeah. So of course I knew I had gained some weight, man. But I'm like, I'm good, you know, because my college nickname was Big Sexy, right? So I'm like, I'm good. So
me too, funny enough.
What I actually realized was that I looked in my closet one day and I had black suits, gray suits, brown suits, but it was like 10 black suits, 12 gray suits, 9 brown suits, because what I was essentially doing was every time the suit started fitting too tight, I just call up my guy and say, hey man, I gained a couple of pounds. I need another suit.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, he was like, if you don't make some drastic changes in your life, I give you 5 years or less and you'll be out of here.
Wow.
So that kind of hit home. It hit home for 2 reasons. Both of my parents had quadruple heart bypass surgery at 50 and 51. Okay.
Yep.
So that was the so-called warning sign. So I stopped and I thought long and hard, you know, how can I make some of these changes? So I literally quit corporate. About 7 months later, I went hardcore vegan for 2.5 years, dropped about 170 pounds, was in great shape, honestly. You know, life was good, and I was on my way. And 2012, 2013, I moved to Hong Kong for a year. And this is where the story gets a little crazy. So I go to Shenzhen, China, man. And of course, China is not Hong Kong. But anyway, go to Shenzhen, China, order a bowl of soup, and they had pork in it or, you know, something in it. It made me sick as a dog.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when I say sick as a dog, I thought I was out of here. So after being a vegan for 2.5 years, I ultimately started back eating meat. And I fell back into these old quote unquote ways.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward 2014, I moved back to the States, moved to Atlanta, and I'm cycling, running, averaging about 30 miles a week, running on my bike anywhere between 150, 200 miles a week. And I'm doing this at 340 pounds then, okay? Because I had gained a lot of the weight back. Well, fast forward to 2019, almost 3 years ago, I was in the middle of a 80-mile bike ride on the Silver Comet Trail in Smyrna, and I had a widowmaker heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And my life forever changed. I had 100% blockage in the main artery. Didn't go to the hospital for 2 days. Ended up coding, man. I spent 13 days in ICU. I was out of here basically, and so of course I made the changes again. But now, and I'm sitting here listening to everything you guys are saying. Now, unfortunately, I'm in a situation where I lost the bottom chamberman of my heart. So I'm taking about 15 pills a day.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay. Mike knows this because this just happened. I was sitting on my couch Sunday night and my Apple Watch started lighting up. And I was like, what is going on? And basically it was telling me that I was in
afibrillation.
AFib. Yeah, AFib. So it's just like compounding, like over and over and over and over and over. So I'm sitting here listening to everything you guys are saying. I've been on the call since you guys started. Thank you for this, Mike. I'm coming over there, and looking forward to healing my body, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
So Corey, listen, really appreciate you joining, and we're looking forward to you coming in. We'll do a special interview sharing your story because I'll let you share your age when you come in, so people can see. And we have Miss Laverne on here, Miss Laverne Noel, and Miss Laverne's an athlete, and she's an athlete breeder. I think we should get her genes and save them for future posterity of the African race, because she obviously has the powerful genes. But so many of our children, especially here in America, are groomed from a young age, right, to go into soccer, so I'm not talking about soccer, but to football, to baseball, to sports, where there's high impact on their joints. But the thing about football and baseball, probably football more so, is they encourage young boys to put on that weight, right? We're talking about the pasta parties. And they don't educate these young boys about the long-term effects of doing that to your body. Boys are peaking at the age of 17, and they use you. You hit 25 and you retire, and they forget about you. Okay, there's a little bit of pension and stuff and so on and so forth, but I'm sure
become a pundit. You're just
but how many of those are there? So there's 1,000 guys going to the game each year, and 7 of them make it to TV. Do you know what I mean? And so there are hundreds that are left out there dealing with all these health issues. So we really do want to address that. So really appreciate you coming on, Corey. Coach Aggie, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Corey, are you okay right now? Is there someone with you? Are you on the Silver Comet by yourself? Because I'm a little bit, he looked like he was sweating profusely and getting out of breath. Like, do you have somebody that's accompanying you while you're on that long trail right now? That's all I wanted to ask.
He's like, I ain't that old yet. You got a carer. Do you have a carer with you, Corey? She's asking.
Should she come and pick you up? Oh, he's on mute. You're on mute.
About 10 minutes,
unmute yourself,
10 minutes
Corey.
down the street from you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I said I'm good. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm good.
See, we have the network here, Corey. We're all caring, man. So we'll send.
You sound like my mum. You all right? You need somebody to come pick you up. I'm all right.
So listen, we are running out of time very quickly. Marcinet, if you're on, if you don't mind, please unmute. I know you had a couple of questions. I know you came on. You've been listening diligently the whole time, and I know we talked about detoxing a while ago. And COVID happened, right? Everyone got distracted.
Yes.
Questions about detoxing. How are you doing, by the way, Marcinet?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? Such a great conversation. Thank you so much for continuously posting. I think this is the very first time that I've actually taken it seriously. I've seen you post so much, Michael.
No worries. We're going to keep doing it.
And it's the first one I was like, well, let me just hop in here and see what's going on. So it's a great conversation. So thank you guys so much for being so open and transparent as well about your journeys. Yeah. So the quick question that I had, I'm going to go back to what we were talking about. I was more interested in a detox that was for gut health. I don't have any medical complications that I'm aware of. I do know that just recently I've had a sharp pain on the left side of my abdomen, which is sort of like before my cycle starts, but it's not crazy. It's like this numbing feeling. And so I wanted to know what was a detox that I could use that was for gut health and how this actually relates to, I would say, female issues or reproductive issues, although I'm not diagnosed with cystic fibroids or anything like that. I just want to know, how can I use a detox to help prevent and to move forward with a healthier life choice? I've just gone vegan, vegetarian. I say I'm vegan because I still love the cow cheese, and I'm working on it. I'm working on it because I do want to rid myself of all of the products, but I just want to know, what can I use from you guys? Awesome findings to help with promote health moving forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, so our GBD 14, the Great Black Detox 14-day challenge, it actually helps for you to reset your gut microbiome, right? Because you're doing 14 days without eating anything, which gives it starves out any bad bacteria, right?
Okay.
And what I would say, if you want to concentrate on gut health, is that you take the ginger, like you add ginger tea, ginger with manuka honey to the regimen. So you're only allowed to have coconut water, spring water, and our structured water, right?
Oh.
But you can add boiled ginger, so it helps to destroy bad bacteria and promote good bacteria at the same time. We also have a 30-day fruit fast, the Detox 30, which is a fruit fast, which is intermittent eating, and it's all fruits, and it includes our supplement called Digest, which helps with the gut flora, and that so any one of those two, the 14 or the 30.
Okay. Thank you.
And in both of those is the supplement Essence, right?
I want to talk about that, yeah.
So Essence is the hormone balance, right? Which is gonna help to for homeostasis. And if you do have pains with your cycle, Essence is that supplement that has been remarkable with women and their period pains.
Indeed. And also, Marcina, you talked about going vegan recently as well, which is great. But we do have to be cautious with that as well, because, vegans are being marketed to now. So there are a lot of plant-based toxins that are being introduced to the sort of the vegan, lifestyle, as it were. And in and among those, even, regardless whether or not they're being genetically modified or not, there are a number of vegetables and plant-based foods that are non-conducive to women, especially if they have any concerns about female reproductive health. Highly estrogenic foods, phytoestrogenic foods, and things like that. And some of them are touted as sort of wonder foods, like cucumber, for example, blueberries, things you don't think about. Well, blueberries are more to do with iron absorption. Right. But what I was going to say is that along with our detoxes, we do have meal plans and guides, especially in our the book, the Fiber Elimination book, which talk to the things that especially Black women should and shouldn't eat. Okay. Because we're marketed to by mainstream industries, right, which are foods that are developed by Caucasians, mostly in America. A lot of that food is not conducive to us. In America, cheese is not only a savory dish; it's a seasoning, right? And there are chemicals in cheese that are addictive, literally addictive. So people love cheese in America not because it's just an easy snack to have, but they are literally addicted to cheese. Casomorphins, right? So there are a lot of things, and it's a great, you're on a great journey, and we really appreciate that, and we congratulate you for that. But as we go along, you start to learn certain things, and there's certain things you will stay away from as well. So just to add that in, it's not just the supplements; it's the supplements and what we eat, what we don't eat, when we eat, how frequently we eat, how much we eat. All of these are factors in that.
And we cannot stress enough to Black people, but especially Black women. Protect your thyroid, man. Protect your thyroid. I think the thyroid gland is something that no one hears of until when it's too late. You got some form of thyroiditis, whether it's on the hypothyroidism or on the hyperthyroid, right? Hyperthyroidism. Hypothyroidism is more common with Black women than hyperthyroidism. So that's the reason why so many Black women are overweight, obese, right? Is because their thyroid gland has been attacked their whole lives. And without your thyroid gland, your immune system is all over the place, right? Your ability to metabolize is the catalyst, or your inability to metabolize correctly is at high risk. And things like cheese cheese is one of the main culprits of thyroid, what leads to thyroid issues. And it's not advertised out there, most of the food and agricultural industries, they do not talk about the effects of things like pesticides antibiotics and antibacterials and hormones, growth hormones that are put into animals, right? That we ingest, that we eat, and then they start doing what they do. So whenever you have any kind of pains, like you said, you've got this pain in your lower left abdomen, go and have that checked out to make sure it is not some vital organ, something that's going on.
Okay.
All right.
Can I make an authentic comment real fast?
Absolutely.
Authentically me, right? I swear this is one of the reasons why I have the fear of clicking into, information like this, because at this point you're held responsible. And to be like, oh, dear God, me and the cheese does not have a good relationship. I'm like over here checking myself like, no, that's half of my refrigerator.
Oh, we know it.
I'm looking around like, I need to toss this. I'm like, but wait, I need to finish this Bluebell cheese because that's expensive. I'm like, oh, but I completely understand that we definitely want to make it a priority to get the information. So I'm glad that you guys are having this, and I want to be able to share this with my friends, because when we get together, we eat and we drink, we do all these beautiful things, we cook, and it's like we don't take into account it tastes good, but it may not be good for our genetic makeup. And so I think it's great to have this conversation and to be able to spread the wealth and the knowledge regarding the wisdom. So thank you guys so much. And I know it's coming from a male perspective, but to see all the women on board means you guys are saying something that is effective and makes sense to the African-American female community for us to be on in numbers here on this podcast. So thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Marcin. And look forward to you getting on the detox, getting on the app, the Great Black Detox app. Make sure you download that. And if you've got any questions, message me or message the group, and we'll help you.
And the good news is we've just started a sale just today, a spring sale.
All right, I'm tapping in. I've clicked on the link already.
40%. It's a mega sale. But it's on 4 ounce. It's on our 4 ounce supplements.
Perfect. I'm sure to support
4 ounce supplements and certain detoxes like the Great Black Fat Detox, the Great Black Fibroid Detox, the Great Black Endo Detox. They also are in 4 ounce because these are not just finite times, right? Durations. So women who have fibroids, you're going to have more than one batch of supplements. So we have it in 4 ounce so that you say more about basically, especially with the Great Black Fibroid Detox, the 40% off the 4 ounce actually makes it cheaper than the price of the 2 ounce. So spread the word, everybody. Spread the word.
Indeed. Coach Aggie. Go ahead, Dr. Keela.
I'm sorry, I'm asking a question for a relative who was listening. Is it just for this week? The sale?
What is the date?
No, it's till the end of May.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, Keela. All right, we're about to wrap up, but Coach Aggie had a comment, question, concern?
Yeah, I had a comment just to add to the young lady that was talking about the diet changes that she's made. It's not just chemicals in your food, it's also chemicals in things like your toothpaste and your hair shampoo and conditioner and your cleaning products and laundry products and makeup. All of these things need to be changed as well, not just your diet and eliminating animal products from your diet, but also eliminating toxins from your home.
Absolutely.
That's something that you should definitely investigate as well, and I'm here to help.
Absolutely. And on that note, so guys, this has actually been a really amazing call. Really, we weren't sure. We didn't do it last week. We had a special. We're actually doing a special next week, which we'll share with some of you guys. We'll talk about that. It's a fiber thing we're doing. It's probably going to be Wednesday, but we'll get to that. But we hope to be, we plan to be here next Thursday, same time, but we will send out another link. So we'll let you know if there's any reason why we're not doing it. We'll try and let you guys know, especially you guys, the affiliates, that you guys can help sort of spread the word to everyone else.
We're doing it on Thursday.
What is next Thursday? What's the date next Thursday?
We're doing it Thursday. So you guys are still invited to Thursday.
No, it's Wednesday, remember?
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure. Don't worry about it. We'll let you know. We don't know. We just work here. Do you know what I mean? We know nothing. But listen, really appreciate all of you guys getting on the call, all of your questions, all of your comments. all of the wonderful discussion. Thanks to all my fans on Dr. Amsu's IG. You can wave to him as well. He doesn't mind that. Thanks, of course, everyone on the Zoom, on the YouTube. Questions, comments, concerns, you know where to find us. support@greatblackdetox.com. Drop us an email. You know where we are on social media. If you message us on social media, I hate to admit this, but it comes to my phone. I do ignore them most of the time, but every so often I get bored and I look and I say, oh, 3 weeks ago I got a message, and I'll respond to it. But most of you guys know how to reach us. And listen, guys, we're detoxifying our bodies, we're detoxifying our homes, we're detoxifying our community, we're detoxifying our minds, we're detoxifying our bank accounts, getting more zeros in our bank accounts, putting more. In fact, Master, you can help people with their credit scores and all the rest of it. So listen, we got the whole team in the house. We're really going to fix people, because stress is a huge issue, and not just a precursor, but it's an accelerant for a lot of medical conditions as well. So when we do holistic, when we say we're holistic, we look at everything. You know, we may not talk about the finance side of it so much, but we'll have a whole call on that, what we do, what we teach our kids about money, and so on and so forth. When you relieve those stresses, relationship stresses, when you relieve all of those stresses, we're generally more healthier. But in that, listen, we're going to send love to you guys. Dr. Amsu, final words?
Thanks to everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for getting involved, being part of the conversation. Spread the word. You know, we love having conversations with you guys. We want to hear from you. We like your opinions. We love your opinions.
Absolutely.
You know, we like a debate every now and again. We want somebody to come in and disagree with us.
That's why I disagree with you sometimes. Even if I don't, I just disagree because it's fun. Do you know what I mean? Your veins start popping out your neck and all the rest of it. But listen, guys, we're sending love to you guys. Happy healing, safe detoxing. And we will see you next week, unless we get a better idea. Peace out.
Take care.